Do you honestly believe that fighting is the killer of marriage? That the perfect couple is the one that never raises their voices? Let me tell you a hard truth. My wife and I were married for 40 years. We fought for 40 years. But we also loved each other deeply for every single one of them. In fact, looking back, my biggest regret is that we didn't fight enough. I know. It sounds crazy. But today I want to share a perspective that might flip everything you know about relationships upside down. Learning how to fight properly is actually the secret to a perfect marriage. I'm going to share the 3 lessons that saved us, and trust me, the last one is the game changer. It took me 10 years in the trenches to finally understand it. The first and most painful lesson I ever learned is this: silence isn't peace. It's a slow-growing cancer that eats away at your marriage from the inside out. We've all heard it. Silence is golden. But in a relationship, that's the biggest lie you'll ever believe. John Gottman once said something that changed my life. A conflict-free marriage is the most dangerous marriage in the world. A marriage without arguments isn't a marriage without problems. It's a marriage where resentment is being gift-wrapped and stored in the basement. I had a neighbor once, never heard them utter a cross word. Then, in their 5th year, they divorced. No warning, no signs, no one saw it coming. Why? Because the things you don't say never truly disappear. They turn into insomnia, headaches, and chronic anxiety. You think you're protecting the peace, but you're actually killing the connection. Think of it like a leak in the hull of a ship. If you ignore the crack, the water keeps seeping in until the whole thing sinks. Fighting is how you patch the leaks as they happen. A little struggle today prevents a shipwreck tomorrow. Remember, silence isn't peace. It's a ticking time bomb. Now, if fighting is necessary, then the next thing you have to wrap your head around is this: you're never fighting against your spouse. You're fighting for your marriage. The purpose of an argument isn't to win the war. It's to win back each other. Science tells us that male and female brains often process stress differently. Most men default to Mr. Fix-It mode. We see a problem, and our first instinct is logic, data, and solutions. But often our partners are operating as emotional connectors. They aren't presenting a problem to be solved. They are expressing a state of being to be heard. Gottman tracked 700 couples over 40 years and found a heartbreaking pattern. 80% of marriages fail because the man is giving logic when the woman is asking for empathy. I was a complete fool when I was younger. I'd come home late from the office, she'd complain, and I'd fire back with logic about Excel sheets and the mortgage. I was so busy winning the argument that I didn't see the tears in her eyes. She wasn't mad about the hours. She was saying, "I missed you. I'm lonely. I need to feel like I matter." Once I understood that, I stopped arguing the facts. I started listening to the heart. In marriage, if you win the argument, you've already lost the heart. But of all these lessons, the most important one, the one that took me 10 full years in the trenches to finally get, the one that saved our marriage more times than I can count, is this: the survival of your marriage doesn't depend on how often you fight. It depends on how fast you repair. Gottman's data shows that happy couples and divorced couples actually fight about the same amount. The difference, the happy ones have mastered the bid for connection. After a heated blow-up, I learned to let the air clear for a moment. Then I'd go to the kitchen, peel an apple, or pour a glass of warm milk, and quietly set it next to her. I wouldn't say a word. I'd just walk away. That was my bid. I was saying, "I'm still here. I still care." A peeled apple or a warm cup of milk is worth more than 10,000 empty "I'm sorries." Of course, there are ground rules: no character assassinations, no hitting below the belt, no public scenes, and most importantly, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Find a way to touch, to hug, or to share the same bed before you sleep. By the next morning, we usually couldn't even remember what we were shouting about. We only remembered the repair. I'm 70 years old now. My wife is gone. Looking back at our 40 years together, I don't remember the details of our fights, but I remember the tenderness that followed. I remember the comfort of knowing that no matter how loud it got, we were never going to let go. The best kind of love is the one where you can argue for a lifetime, but never want to spend a single night apart. Tell me in the comments, what's your secret for making up after a fight? Is it a hug or a clumsy apology? I'd love to hear your wisdom, and if you have someone in your life that you'd fight for and with forever, send them this video. Cherish them.